You're watching TVC News now. Journalists Hangout. Of course, we progress on with our midweek special, which is on the protests that have rocked the country across many states of the Federation. TVC News, Ayoyimika Adeni tells us more.
The Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, is a unit of the Nigerian police, established in 1992 to combat armed robbery and violent crimes like kidnapping. As a child of necessity, SARS used conventional and unconventional methods to carry out its responsibility of ridding Nigeria of violent crimes. Over the years, the unit derailed and became notorious for wanton brutality, harassment, and human rights abuses. Before long, SARS came under fire for cases of extortion, harassment, intimidation, abuse of power, and outright murder. This brought about constant agitations by the citizens for the reform or outright scrapping of the unit. An online movement, the hashtag #EndSARS, began in 2018 to protest against the brutality of the police unit. A week ago, a footage of SARS officers in Lagos pulling two men out of a hotel to the street and shooting one of them went viral on social media. The footage provoked outrage and led many to share stories of brutality by a unit which has become notorious for unduly profiling young people. The hashtag #EndSARS was resurrected, this time leading to mass protests with one goal: the disbandment of SARS. Demonstrations against SARS took place in different cities across the country, such as Lagos, Enugu, Rivers, Oyo, Calabar, the FCT Abuja, and many more. Many eminent Nigerians, especially artists, joined the protests, condemning police brutality and calling for an end to SARS. Other eminent Nigerians, including the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, condemned the shooting in the viral video.
SARS has been disbanded, and that the Commissioner, the Inspector General of Police, has also committed to ensuring not only that is it disbanded, but that whatever takes its place has the full participation of civil society groups and all other stakeholders. So I think what we're seeing is and today, just a few minutes ago, the President also spoke about this and spoke in particular.
President Muhammadu Buhari summoned the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, directing him to scrap SARS and effect some reforms in the police. On Sunday, 11th of October, the Inspector General of Police announced the dissolution of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, across the 36 states of the country and the FCT, with immediate effect. In his statement, the IG stated that officers and men serving in SARS will be redeployed. This did not go down well with the protesters, who believe that has not solved anything. On Monday, the #EndSARS protests raged on across the country, despite the scrapping of the unit. Major roads were blocked, causing intense traffic, as protesters marched to different strategic locations in cities like Lagos and Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari spoke again on the matter, saying the scrapping of SARS is the first step in his commitment to substantive police reforms.
I would like to use this opportunity to say a word on the recent genuine concerns and agitations by Nigerians about the excessive use of force and, in some cases, extrajudicial killings and wrongful conduct by means of the Nigerian police force. The disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reform in order to ensure that the primary duty of the police and other law enforcement agencies remains the protection of lives and livelihoods of our people. We will also ensure that all those responsible for misconduct or wrongful acts are brought to justice. We also deeply regret the loss of life of the young man in Oyo State during the recent demonstrations. I have directed that the circumstances of his death should be thoroughly investigated. Meanwhile, it is important to recognize that the vast majority of men and women of the police force are hardworking and diligent in performing their duties. The few bad eggs should not be allowed to tarnish the image and reputation of the force.
While the president was speaking, protesters were on the streets in different locations. As the protest rages on across the country, many Nigerians are beginning to wonder what the protesters want, especially when SARS has been scrapped. A miffed governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, saw no reason for the continued protests and banned the Answers campaign in the state. The protesters, using the hashtag SARS must end, defied his order and continued with the street protest in Port Harcourt, the state capital. But several accusations are circling on social media that the police were firing shots at some protesters and arresting some. A video surfaced online of the police beating and arresting two women named Treasure Nduka and Felicia Okpara by the officers of the Area C Division in Lagos. Ademola Ojabodo, popularly known as Ojabi, is seen in a video being dragged on the floor, manhandled by police officers. The police officers at Area C allegedly refused those arrested access to their lawyers. They were eventually released when the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, and the lawmaker representing Surulere constituency, Desmond Elliott, intervened. Some protesters were reportedly killed in Surulere too. These may have further aggravated the protesters, who have not backed down from their protests. Their demands include immediate release of the arrested protesters, justice for the victims of police brutality, and appropriate compensation of their families. They also want an independent body set up to oversee the investigation and prosecution of reports of police misconduct within 10 days. For them, what's needed is a total overhaul of policing in Nigeria. It is not yet clear how this will end, but it is hoped that police brutality comes to an end in Nigeria. Ayoyimika Adeniyi, TVC News, Lagos.